What's going on, guys? So it is an absolutely beautiful day out here at the property, and I'm doing something that I know some electricians will probably tell me I shouldn't be doing, but I really don't know why I shouldn't be doing this, so it'll be an interesting video. I did get rid of that rickety old ladder. Well, I take that back. I didn't get rid of the rickety old ladder, the wooden one that you saw in a previous video, but I bought a new one. This is just a little 6-foot ladder. It's a Werner. Got it from Lowe's. It was on sale. It was normally like 80 bucks. I got it for 40 bucks. So got me a new fiberglass ladder. Makes things, 10% safer when you're out here and you don't have anybody holding it. But yeah, let's talk about this. Hang tight. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so you probably saw the video where I installed these solar lights around the property, and you know what? They're super bright for what they are. The problem is there's no constant on feature, which essentially means that they go into this really dim mode, and then you have to walk about 20 feet away from it for it to click on, and it gives you a lot of light, but not for very long, only for about 10-15 seconds. So I'm doing right now what I've done a lot of times in the past around property. I mount low voltage lighting. These are 12 volt LED landscape lights, and I mount them to posts and things like that to provide a lot of lighting. And if you look down there at the RV post we have, I simply have the little on-off timer and the transformer plugged into the 110 outlet on the RV slip. I have the wire ran up here and over, only because we're going to be mowing through here and I didn't really feel the need to trench underneath, plus the tree kind of conceals it a little bit. And that is 12 gauge wire. It runs up here, and then everything essentially just daisy chains into the positive and the negative connection on this wire. So I have 4 lights, 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here, and these are the 10-watt LED lights, so they're super bright. I mean, I use the 3-watt LED lights around the house, and they're bright. So 10-watt LEDs, considering the sun's right there, look how bright they are. Super bright. They're gonna really illuminate this area right here, and I have 4 of them, 1 on top, and then I have 2 that kind of point in this direction, and then I have 1 that points back here towards the pedestal. They provide a lot of lighting. They pull hardly any current. That transformer right there supports up to 60 watts, and with 4 of them I only have 40 watts running. So that's all I'm going to put on this specific post. I still have the solar panel here connected to my Reolink Go camera. Really cool camera. This has an LTE SIM card in it, so that's how it actually gets the video image back to me. And if I move in front of it too much, I'll start getting a beeping noise coming across my phone, letting it know that it's detected motion out here. And I muted it for now, simply because it was kind of driving me crazy with all the work I was doing in front of it. Anyways, that being said, this is such an easy project to do, and it's low voltage, so you don't have to worry about electrocuting yourself. I know that some folks will say low voltage isn't any safer than high voltage, but for me, I have more experience working with low voltage, so it's easier for me. And again, all I'm doing is connecting the positive wire to the positive side, the negative wire to the negative side, and they all come on. And they even include these really cool little splices that connect it directly to the main wire. So this entire project only took me about maybe 30 minutes to complete. And I'm no longer solar, which means these lights are going to come on anytime it gets dark outside, and they're going to turn off when it gets light again. I have a timer right there. I can have them turn on for a certain amount of time and then turn off. But these are going to be super bright, and once it gets dark out here, I'll come back out with the camera and I'll let you see exactly how much of an area it illuminates. Now, I did something special over there on that light post as well, and I removed the solar lights I had there in exchange for something else. So let me show you what I did over there. So over here, we have the beautiful Black Series as our backdrop. I installed a solar-powered LED street lamp. You heard me right. This is a street lamp, and the thing's really, really large, and it's hard to tell from the camera, but it is probably 2 feet long, and it has 2 solar panels that connect side by side in the bracket right up there. Typically, the solar panel would mount to the top of this arm that the light fixture clamps onto, and this arm is usually about 1.5 feet longer, but I cut the arm down because I didn't want to mount so much weight on this 4x4 post leaning forward. That entire assembly, when it's all connected together, probably weighs upwards of 20 pounds, and that's a lot of weight to be leaning off the front of this post. So instead, I cut the post short, I clamped this on, and I simply mounted the 2 solar panels to the very top of this 4x4 post. Now what's cool about this versus the other solar lights had a real small battery and a really small solar panel. So whenever it charged, it was just enough to give you essentially security illumination throughout the night with a motion detector. So if you went close to them, they came on, they were really bright, really cool, but again, they only came on for about 10 seconds and then they shut back off, which isn't quite enough illumination, especially if I want to walk over here to the Black Series and do something inside of there, or if I'm boondocking in the Black Series out here, or if we have guests over and they're boondocking in the Black Series out here. You know, it's just not enough illumination. So I got this instead. It's the equivalent of a 300-watt light. Super bright. That hump you see on the back, that whole thing is a battery. And these 2 solar panels charge that battery to give this thing the ability to be on full illumination all night long. And it really illuminates a huge swath of area here. You can see the Black Series. I mean, it's not pointing directly at it, so it's not going to be like you're pointing a flashlight at it, but it definitely illuminates it. And it's only on a 9-foot post. So this is a 12-foot post with 3 feet in the ground, which means it's not going to have that wide of a coverage area. But for what I'm using it for, it works perfectly. And one of the ways I tested it last night was to pull in right here and just see how much it really illuminated and lit up this area. And it does a really good job. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how it holds up. That's probably my biggest concern. 4x4 posts individually by themselves without bracing aren't necessarily the strongest thing out there. You get a heavy enough wind, the solar panels up there are absolutely going to collect wind. The light fixture itself will. This thing will get to rocking if it gets windy enough out. So I'd like to see how it holds up. I think it'll do okay. This tree right here is certainly going to break up some of the wind and keep it from hitting it dead on. But you know, you get a good crosswind, you know, it's hard to say how the thing's going to hold up over time, but I will definitely keep you guys informed. Paid $165 for that. So, and it includes everything. Just keep in mind, if you set it up the way it's designed to be set up whenever you get it in, that post right there that attaches to the wooden board, it's significantly longer, and the solar panels mount on top of it, and this mounts at the end. So all the weight is positioned right in this area, and it can make it pretty heavy, especially if you're going to attach it to another structure. You can see the birds flying in for winter. Very cool. This is just absolutely gorgeous out here. And, you know, I got so many cool little projects, and I get to do them in so many different ways. You can probably see the lights are on over there on the post that I installed a second ago. And those are going to work really well. If the 10 watts are as bright as I'm hoping they are, which I can imagine they're going to be pretty bright, because again, I've used 3 watt and I've used 5 watt LEDs. And the main reason why I use the lower wattage isn't necessarily because I don't want the brightness around our home or around landscaping. It's because I can daisy chain more of them together without having to have additional transformers. And most of the time, they're 4 or 5 times brighter than even the brightest solar power landscaping lights. And solar power landscaping lights, to me, you know, I'm almost done with them because they don't last very long. They don't get really bright. And if you have several of them, some of them start breaking before others. And you have a bright one and then a dim one. And then you have one that is falling apart because they're almost all plastic. And they just don't work out real well. These are all steel. They, you know, hold up really well. I've used a ton of them around the house. I buy them on Amazon. They're super cheap compared to Lowe's or Home Depot. I think I generally pay for this was a 10 pack, and I think I paid like 50 bucks, 60 bucks, something like that, maybe 70, but a lot cheaper than what you get over at Lowe's and Home Depot. And I hate that to be true, because I typically like to support Lowe's and Home Depot when I'm around there, or even Ace or some of the local stores. But you know, sometimes when you're buying a lot of something, you want to get them uniform. You want to make sure they're all the same, and you want to get them for the best price you can. So with all the projects I have going on out here, that's certainly true. Looking at what I've done here, again, I have this little landscaping power unit that I purchased on Amazon. This is the 60 watt unit, 12 volt output. Have it plugged in down here to the GFCI outlet that is on my RV pedestal with a 20 amp breaker here. Feeds into this. The wire connects to the back right here, rides up, goes up the tree here, up here, connects back there. I'm going to clean that up so you don't see it quite as much. It's going to be on the back side of it. But again, got a lot of lights coming off of it now, and it really is going to illuminate this area very, very well at night. So it's going to be interesting to see, because once I come out here And you know, all I really have to do is walk out of the back of the log cabin, look this way, and I'll just see how illuminated it is. And I can even put another one facing that way, which I'll probably do real quick, just so I have just about every angle covered, because that's important. You know, when you're out here, it gets incredibly dark. And if you're at the RV, if you're in this area, whenever we get the fifth wheel here, it's going to be really, really dark. And having some light out here definitely gives you a little bit more of a comfortable feel. And the other nice thing is I can always turn it off if it's too bright. If I want to use the awning lights coming on the RV, I have a lot of options. So, you know, this is going to work out really, really well for me. Again, I might put one more. That means I'll have 50 watts pulling off of the 60 watt power unit. So I'll still have, you know, about 10 watts worth of overkill, which I won't be using. And I'll probably face one out that way. So I'll have one on each side of the post and then one on top, which is just further gonna assist this light right there and that light in illuminating this entire swath. Anyways, I'll put a link in the description if this is something you're interested in. Super affordable. Again, they're not plastic. Everything is really high quality. I'll tell you what, the lights that I've purchased at Lowe's that I have tied into our 12 volt landscaping light system have almost all failed. The bulbs fail, I have problems with them. Every one of these has yet to fail except for one I think that got hit by a mower. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.